OffBeat Sports Podcast.
It's been a tale of two seasons for the Boston Celtics.
I probably aged about 10 years just from that series.
I'd probably compare myself to just a younger, smarter, more handsome, stronger Michael Jordan.
Let's go Celtics. Go Patriots.
These are guys who, when you give them a bowl of Cheerios in the morning, they finish every last drop of milk.
Absolute clown over here.
I'm ready when you are, baby.
All right, everybody. Welcome back to the OffBeat Sports Podcast. Me, Harry, and Aiden are back to talk a little bit about the New England Patriots. Yeah. Such a shame, right?
Atrocious, honestly.
Good news is Celtics are coming back soon.
Celtics, that's right.
Sadly, we're here to talk about the Patriots.
Yeah,
we'll be back to talk about the Celtics a little bit later, but for now, we'll talk about the Patriots. So, I mean, where should we start? Mac Jones, Belichick, offensive line.
I feel like an easy way to start, and like we can add context if we want, but like just a simple: do we save it or do we tank?
You can't tank. I think tanking is the dumbest thing ever. I think you need. I will never root for them to lose. I just think that's it's such a dumb strategy, and like, yeah, but like we're the Patriots. We're not Chicago or like.
Yeah, you want to think about it. You want to think about it as
even though Carolina doesn't have their pick.
Like you want to think about it as not necessarily a rebuild, but more of like just a retooling. I feel like with Belichick at the helm and Kraft owning the team, they'll never actually tank or rebuild, but mostly just retool, get some new guys in there, get some elite talent.
All right, I'm gonna give you my Mac Jones hot take. All right, I think that's gonna
rebuild.
Oh, sorry, Harry, go.
So,
you're the military guy. I think you should be leaning one way.
Yeah, I mean, big guns.
Harry just drives a tank through his wall, and he's like, tank.
Nah, because it sucks because I think like we're in a better position now to tank than we are to even try and like make something positive out of the season. Because like we've had 6 games and nothing good has come from it. Our win is against the Jets.
Do you think nothing though? I mean, okay. So this is where
realistically, what do you see as a positive right now? The only thing I see as a positive is that Ramondre just got 16 yards, and that's our biggest gain of a run this season.
What I can't figure out is why we had so much success against the Eagles and the Dolphins, but then we struggled against the Saints and the Raiders. That's where I can't. Why can't we? If we could get back to how we were playing those first 2 weeks, like, then we could put together a more respectable season than we're putting together right now. And here's where my head's at. And I'll give you my Mac Jones hot take because I think that'll get a ball rolling with this whole debate. I think with Mac Jones, you could be a playoff team. You could be like a second round playoff team if you gave him an offensive line in maybe one receiver. Okay, because like you got to think, Matt. So right now, he probably has 1 to 2 seconds to throw every play because of how bad our offensive line is. Vidarian Lowe is basically a turnstile at that right tackle position. So as soon as he's getting that ball, he's having to try and run for his life. So, like, you got to think, if they had, like, say, I'm trying to think of a good offensive line. There's not many left. Dallas is a good offensive line still, right? Yeah. If they had the Dallas offensive line, like, you can't tell me
Eagles offensive line.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You couldn't tell me he'd be a hell of a lot more effective. Even it was week 1 and week 2. We let up like only 1 or 2 sacks in each game, and in the offensive line actually didn't look that bad. And look, Mac put 316 yards up on the Eagles, which is one of the best defenses in the league. 231 against the Dolphins, but at a 73.8% completion percentage. And he actually looked good, and everyone was like, yeah, they lost, but I wouldn't necessarily put those losses on Mac Jones. Yeah, he could have done more, but like a 91 passer rating and 84 passer rating is not bad. He had an 85 passer rating against the Jets, surprisingly, but a little bit less efficiency completion wise. But like, my thing is, you could get away with Mac Jones. By no means am I saying Mac Jones is the answer, and Is he going to be some stud QB? But this kid has been put through hell. And I this is my order of like anger. Offensive line, wide receivers, Mac Jones. And that's where I'm at.
To tie into that, Cross, I think you have to look back at just a string of bad decisions made from the GM spot. Think about over the years, we lost Joe Tooney, Shaq Mason, countless other starting linemen that lost about one each year that just were never really replaced. And I remember when we drafted Mac, people were saying like we have a great offensive line. It's a perfect spot for him. He's with Belichick. He'll get protection. And ever since then, it's slowly dwindled to the point where it is now, where game one against the Eagles, he has to attempt over 50 passes because we can't run the ball. He doesn't have time to throw either. So it's like over time, our line has just gotten worse. Yeah, and then you gotta look at the injuries too. Like you were saying, we played so much worse the last couple of weeks. We lost Gonzo the first quarter of the game against Dallas. Very next play is a 50-yard CD Lamb touchdown. Then we lose Judon for the season in that game. And it's just the injuries are piling up and the bad decisions by Belichick as a GM of just it's all coming to catch up to us in the same season, which is really unfortunate.
Here's where I give Bill credit. He built a really good defense, and he's built enough depth on this defense that they're still performing pretty well. I mean, the Cowboys, they were doing fine until that game got out of hand. Same with the Saints game for the most part. They're not creating as many turnovers as they usually do. But like the Raiders game, they looked pretty good. Like, I mean, the defense is by far not the problem. So I give credit for Bill that. I mean, he's a defensive mind. He's nailed his side. But from what I'm hearing, it seems like offensive responsibilities, GM-wise, has fallen onto that Matt Groh guy. And if that's true, that Matt Groh guy is horrendous. Yeah, Bill's kind of still in charge, but it seems like he was more delegating. And in my opinion, and Harry, I'll let you respond to the whole Mac Jones thing before I get into Bill Belichick, because I got a whole nother monologue for that one.
So with Mac, right? It's hard. It's so hard for me to fight for him because I do in my heart of hearts, I do think Mac could be good, right? And I'm not saying great. I don't think Mac is destined for a Hall of Fame career. I don't think Mac is destined for even a Super Bowl run. But in my heart of hearts, I think with Mac Jones heading the helm, with the right coaching, because I mean, look at the kid, dude. He looks miserable. Miserable. You can see it on his face. He looks miserable. He hates it right now. Hates his life because all it is just flash and like backlash from the media, the whole reporting side of things, the entire office in the background. Everything is just like, hey, Mac and Billy, you guys are both trash. And I can see why. And all of me wants to be like, it's not Mac's fault, which, granted, nothing's ever 100% anybody's fault. But it's like a 50-50 for me at this point. And it's like I'm pissed at the both of them. I'm pissed at Bill. I'm pissed at Mac. I think we've just made terrible GM decisions over the past 3 years because look at what we were when Mac came to us. We were a decent team, still in the rebuilding stage. But that's what I'm saying. We had just gotten into our second year of the rebuilding stage and found our quarterback. And he played the best of that rookie class. And now look at us. In 3 years, what have we done to improve Mac? What have we done to make him more confident throwing the ball? What have we done to give him weapons so he can feel that sense of safety? If he throws it out there, he's got a guy that has a pretty good chance of getting it. We haven't given him any pocket protection. We haven't given him any confidence to step on that field and act like he leads the team because we pull him out every goddamn quarter to throw in Malik Cunningham for a negative 6-yard run. We're not doing anything for this team, and we're not doing anything for Mac. And honestly, I'm leaning towards to get rid of Mac because I truly think
if you have a top 5 pick and you can get Drake May, then
absolutely,
that's when you move on from him. But if you're on 7, don't force it by getting that who's the Washington guy, the Penix guy. Like, don't force it something like
Yeah.
that. Either get the
If we're top,
generational guy or go with a tackle, go with a receiver. Because again, if you build that offensive line in the draft, and you can get away with one more year, Mac. Like,
honestly, I'd be fine without even drafting a quarterback. If we spend round 1, 2, 3, and 4 on all linemen, just building our
linemen
I
and
wouldn't
receivers,
care
let's
at
say.
all.
Linemen and receivers.
Even receivers, I wouldn't care. I think Juju has potential to still be phenomenal. Clearly, he's not his Steelers days of when he was still the wide receiver of the year. You know what I mean? But like
And
Devontae
actually,
Parker, he's
on that
older.
at that point, that's pissing me off. That everyone's like, why'd you bring Juju here? Why did you get rid of Jacoby Myers? First of all, let's be honest. Everyone thought Juju was going to be better than Jacoby. Yeah, it turns out Juju ended up having the knee injury, and he's ended up like not being great. But when that signing happened, everyone was like, we upgraded. But like, come on, let's not flip now that like, oh yeah, we knew that was gonna happen. Like, no, you didn't. Shut up.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't get me wrong, I was a big Jacoby Myers supporter. I loved the backfield that consisted of, I mean, obviously when Edelman was still here, but I love the backfield that consisted of wide receiver 1 being Jacoby Myers and wide receiver 2 being Kendrick Bourne. I love Kendrick Bourne. I think Kendrick Bourne's the best wide receiver we have on our roster. He's Mr. Reliable. That's Mac's favorite target, other than Hunter Henry, as we've seen. But he's Mr. Reliable. He's played with what 4 different quarterbacks now. God, he's played with what 5 different quarterbacks now, Kendrick Bourne, and he's been consistent for each of them. And he's been consistent for each of them. You can't.
My thing is, Bourne can be a good receiver. But he's going to want to be your wide receiver too. You're not. He can't be your top guy.
He's not your main guy.
Offense.
No.
But like, you got free agents next year. I'm looking like you got Mike Evans is a free agent, and you got T Higgins are free agents. If you can get one of those guys, and then you draft linemen, bolster the defense a little bit, maybe get another pass rusher in there.
That's another reason why I'm not even worried about wide receivers in the draft. Because who are we picking?
Like, yeah, our team looks horrible right now, but realistically, you're probably five positions away from being a playoff team.
Yeah, and I mean, granted, you could say that about a lot of teams right now. You know what I mean?
No, but like the Bears are a mess. The Broncos are a mess. Like, those teams are messy. Carolina's a mess. Like, those teams are legitimate shit shows. The Patriots.
I'd say the Bears.
The Patriots are more on, like, I feel like, just unfortunate where their deficiencies are.
Well, I just think like.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say to go off your guys' points, like, I don't know that any quarterback, whether a rookie or even you take a more experienced guy, could succeed in the current situation that Mac is having to perform in. You know, with one of the worst offensive lines in football, with no real threats, like downfield threats, receiving wise. We've all seen the Devontae Parker drops on loop since Sunday. Like, I mean, it's been a down year for Ramondre so far, largely due to the line. It's like, I mean, you bring Brock Purdy in here, it's not going to be any better. You know what I mean?
Well, the one thing that pisses me off about the Devontae Parker drop, one thing to drop it, which was abysmal, but then in his post-game interview, he's like, well, what did you see? Like, oh yeah, I think it hit me in the fingertips, and like that's why I wasn't able to get it. I'm like, first, I didn't know your fingertips were in the middle of your palm, buddy. Like, it hit you right in the hand. Like, you got to come down with that. And like, that's literally, even if you don't believe it, you got to straight up be like, I screwed up. I should have had that one. Like, that's like, you got to take responsibility, man. Like,
moving on from Mac. I mean,
let's go to Belichick.
Yeah.
Let's go to Belichick. All right. My thing with Belichick, in a perfect world, if you could fire him as GM and keep him as a coach, fine. Like, that would be ideal. You probably can't do that. So how do you move forward? I think right now, he gave you 20 plus years of success. The least you could do is stick it out with him, let him leave on his own terms. And even if it means you suck for a couple of years, I'm fine with it. I honestly, like, you got to think, this dude gave us 20 plus years of success. Yeah, he had Brady, but he was a huge part of that success.
Oh, yeah, of course.
And I think we owe it to him to to stick it out with him for a couple more years until he's ready to be done, and because you can't drop it, you can't fire Bill Belichick. That's just not a thing you can do. Yeah, he is a huge part of the problem, but you cannot fire Bill Belichick.
Yeah,
Aiden, go ahead.
and I just don't think that's something that Kraft would do. I think if he really did want to move off of Belichick, it would be more something like, I want you to resign or I want you to retire, rather than the media reporting it as him getting fired. I just don't think.
I think not only that, I think Belichick's a smokescreen for Kraft. That's a whole separate argument. I mean, I think Belichick's taking a lot of heat for not spending, but I think Kraft is a part of that, and Kraft knows once Belichick's gone, whoever comes in it's either going to be someone trying to spend, or it's going to come out that Kraft is the one that didn't want to spend, and it's going to be one of those kind of situations.
I just think there's just so many holes on the roster right now with injuries. Like, I don't think Belichick is near the top of the list for things like coaching wise, at least. That's wrong with this team. So I can't see him getting fired. I agree that he'd probably leave on his own terms if he was done, but they have so many other things they got to fix on offense. I think Belichick should not be at the top of the list.
I think the way I see it right now is that just the offseason Belichick's probably the worst head coach, general manager in the league by far. If I were to say head coach Belichick, the thing is, I don't even think we're that bad with Belichick right now. I think
I honestly don't think we're a 1-5 team.
No, that's what I'm saying. I truthfully don't think the blame is fully on Belichick. I mean, of course, like I said, it's a 50-50 thing. But I don't even think he's the 50. I'd give him 25, I'd give him 25 purely as a GM. As a head coach, I'd give him 10, because what the hell is your offense doing? You can lead the defense to success, which he's done for his entire career. But then you push Brady out, you got rid of the weapons. Edelman retired, and of course Edelman's not going to play well with somebody who doesn't play to his strengths. You brought in Cam Newton, who did nothing. You brought in Mac Jones. You battered his confidence by throwing in Bailey Zappi, Malik Cunningham, Jared Stidham, just screwing with him. Screwing with his mind, thinking oh yeah, no, my fault. I was just saying quarterback names. But right now, Malik Cunningham, fucking what are you doing? Third down on every we had 30.
Yeah, I don't
third and
get
10,
it.
third and 12. We're throwing Malik Cunningham on
I think
our
they're
own
just
20.
trying to mix
what are you
things up.
doing?
I think
they're
just
trying to
mix
jumpstart the
up.
offense.
But also this is my other thing is people were like, oh, start Malik Cunningham, and then this is what's aggravating about Patriots, and they're like, oh, we should be starting Malik Cunningham, he can't be any worse, and then they bring Malik Cunningham in for a couple plays. They keep they bring him in, and everyone's like, why are you bringing Malik Cunningham in? And I'm like, what is
yeah.
Come
and
on.
Don't get me wrong, Mac played terrible. Mac played terrible in the game against the Raiders. Mac was looking.
I don't know about terrible. He had that one bad interception.
One really bad
pick.
Missed
play.
Really bad pick.
The rest of the game, he was not bad. I mean, he had 72% completion percentage.
He had
200 yards.
5 feet to the left of Mike Gesicki, directly to the hands of a running back on his back foot, or running back, directly to the hands of a linebacker on his back foot. Yeah, was it Henry?
Yeah,
I knew it was one of the
big
tall white guys that played tight end.
And it was in the red zone too.
Yeah, that was terrible. But that's the thing. I'm even then, I think a lot of that problem is who set up that play. You know what I mean? Who set up that play where we have no pocket protection? Because Gesicki's a good blocker. Gesicki's a really good blocker.
He's more of a receiving guy, but Gesicki got just ran through by Crosby on that last play.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about that safety.
And then Vidarian Lowe got ran through, so Crosby ran right through two guys and still
Lowe didn't even touch him. Lowe didn't even touch the guy. He watched him run right past him. But that's the thing. There's a lot of holes in this offense, and by holes I mean it's looking like Swiss cheese. Even a cheese grater would be great. But
It's just weird because the offensive line shows flashes where they could block, and then
yeah,
there's
it's
just other
like, oh wow,
times.
you guys
There's just
remember
other
today.
times where as soon as Mac touches the ball, the defenders are in the backfield and he's running for his life, and that's why like you gotta feel for the kid because he is running for his life all the time.
I think my biggest like appeal to that, right? Or not appeal. I think my biggest piece of evidence is look at that third quarter against the Saints. Our first drive in that third quarter, we had defensive linemen inside the pocket within the first 0.5 seconds of the play. Center was collapsing. Who's our left guard right now? Is it still Cole Strange? Is he injured? Is he one of the?
No,
he was one
Strange
of the
has
injury report
he's
guys.
been in and out. I don't remember if he was in that game.
That's what I'm saying.
He's
one of the
out.
injury
It's
report
between
guys.
him and City, so I think
that left guard position has.
They're also like. I also gotta like review the schedule who we're playing. It's like we're playing.
We got the Broncos, don't we?
I'm saying like
Broncos,
next team's Bills and then Dolphins and then Commanders. I think.
Gotcha.
We don't play Broncos till late in the season, but dude, look at who we've played. Eagles are probably top 10 defense. Dolphins have had a pretty good defense so far. Jets top 5 defense. Cowboys top 5 defense. Saints have been a top 5 defense. Raiders not so much, but those are some pretty damn good defenses we've had to play.
Agreed.
I want to see how they do against like Denver or the Commanders. Those teams that their defense.
I mean, we just saw the Jets beat the Eagles. We just saw the Jets beat the Eagles. And the Eagles have one of the most unstoppable offenses in this league compared to what? Best top 3 offenses in the league. It's always going to be what? Chiefs. I guess you can throw the Dolphins in there.
They forced Hurts to throw 3 interceptions, but they couldn't get one off Mac.
Yeah, right. Like, I mean, it's
Mac Jones is better than Jalen Hurts. You heard it here first.
There's the stats. There's the stats, boys. Why would we get rid of Jalen Hurts? Honestly, we should just sign Tyronn Lue as our head coach for the Patriots.
What? All right. Well, all right. And then here, hold on. Let me pull up the Patriots schedule.
I do think you said it best, though. If there's a world where we can fire Stephen A. Smith said it best. And I know we've all, being Patriots fans, seen that clip. If there's a world where we can fire if we can fire Bill as the general manager but keep him as a head coach, that's what we do. We need somebody who can use our funds for something better, building a team that's playoff contenders, because we haven't done that, and Bill hasn't done that.
All right,
but we can't just get rid of him as coach.
Let's take a look at the rest of the schedule, and then we can kind of wrap it up. Bills and Dolphins, 2 tough games. I mean,
we're losing both of them.
Probably 2 losses.
Yes,
let's be
95% sure we're losing both of them. But hey, maybe they come out really pissed off and they win one. Who knows?
But then we have a pretty easy stretch after that.
Then you got the Commanders, who you should beat, but
that should be a win.
But also, who the hell knows?
The
Colts, who you should beat, but
the Colts should be a win. Richardson's done for the year now, so that's going to be Gardner Minshew.
Then you got your bye week; you can little rest up. Then you got the Giants, who you should definitely beat. Chargers. This one's really tough because we've owned the Chargers.
We have their number.
Their offense has been, but also like they've been much better this year, so we'll see. And their pass rush is much better. I mean, they're 2-3 right now, but their offense has been putting up like 40 points a game. Yeah, and and it's just they're a wild card.
Who's their wide receiver that just got injured? Was it Mike Williams?
Mike Williams got injured in like week 2. But
yeah, I know he's out for the year.
He's out for the year. But like Keenan Allen's so good.
Keenan Allen's still just going to be great until he retires.
Then you got the Steelers, who you should beat. I mean, you should beat them.
Their defense is pretty solid.
The Colts game's in Germany. I love that. Then you got the Chiefs. Okay, call me crazy. This is a winnable game. The Chiefs are just not that good. They're just not that good. I really truly believe that. Their defense is not good.
Well, they've definitely shown some vulnerability.
And their offense is definitely I think they're 5-1, but their offense is not what it usually is. You can expose this team, but again, you got to get hot. You got to get hot going into that week, though. You got to beat the Commanders, Colts, Giants, and at least the Steelers, and maybe both the Chargers. Because if you get hot going into that week and you get going, You may
The
start
fans will be
feeling
on your
yourself for a
side.
Monday night primetime game.
The biggest thing is we don't have the fans on our side. I mean, I know that
Well,
for
but if
sure
you
because
win,
I'm not on
if
their
you go
side.
5 straight with Commanders,
Yeah,
Colts,
you're gonna be
Giants,
fucking
Chargers,
hyped.
Steelers, your fans are
That
back
that
in
crowd,
for that
that crowd is
primetime
gonna be
game on a
nuts.
Monday in December, and then you go to Denver on Christmas Eve,
We win that.
and you should win that, and then you got at Buffalo, and then the Jets in the last week. So
The only games
realistically,
I
1,
think we're
2,
realistically winning.
4, 5, 6, 7.
The only games
I
that
say
you said.
if you can beat the Chargers and everyone you're supposed to beat, you could get to 8 wins.
I
Again,
think we're
everything
winning.
has to go right for that, but again, I'm probably being a little bit of a homer here, but there's a lot of teams you should beat.
I think we're gonna go. I think we're gonna get 3 more wins, and I think it's going to be against the Colts. I think it's going to be against the Broncos, and I think it's going to be. Geez, what was the other one? I was just thinking about it.
Giants, Steelers.
Colts, Broncos, Giants. I think we lose to the Steelers. I don't know why. I don't know. Mike Tomlin. There's something about him. I think for sure we lose to the Commanders.
I think we have a very generous schedule to finish the year.
Yeah,
you got to get hot.
We were gifted. We were gifted.
If you can get, we have such a difficult schedule to start the year. I wouldn't necessarily say gifted, but you got to get hot.
Yeah,
you got to get real hot.
No,
you got to get that offense going. That defense got to start forcing turnovers.
I mean, I don't think it's crazy to say we get to 8 wins, but we got to win all of those winnable games, and we can't slip up against any of those teams, Giants, Colts. So we got to steal one from either Miami, Kansas City.
We can't make mistakes.
LA.
That's the big thing.
Yeah. I mean, they got to be locked in the rest of the season, though. And you wonder at this point, too, there's been rumblings about guys being unhappy. How long are guys going to stay committed to the season? That's something to keep an eye on going forward.
All right, and one last thing before I just want a yes or no. Do you think they trade for Judy? Do you think they should, and do you think they will?
I think that they should, but
both.
Bill's history, they're not going to do it. I think if the price is right, that's something you consider, but I doubt Bill's going to do that.
I go with no on both because Judy's been so bad. He has not been good. I don't know if it's the Denver Broncos system, but because my thing is everyone wants you to bring him in, but once you bring him in and he ends up sucking, everyone's going to be like, why'd you bring him in? I'm like, you knew he sucked. You knew he sucked in Denver. Why'd you think he'd be good over here? And I don't even want to deal with that.
Well, I don't even
want to deal with that.
Well, you just said, Cross, if he's been playing awful, which he has not been living up to expectations. If you could buy low on him, if Denver's willing to do that, I think you take a flyer. But again, if their asking price is too much, definitely don't go for it. Look for other ways to build it. But you can get him for a cheap pick or something. I'm 100% for that.
Yeah,
I think we should.
I know exactly how it's going to go with the fans, and I don't even want to hear it.
I think we should, and I think we will. Reason being is because I think
I don't know how many teams are going to even be in on them anyway.
Exactly. I think Denver will bite very hard for it if we just throw an offer out to them because they are
like a 5th round pick.
They are now starting their rebuild entirely. Like they thought they had something. Like they didn't need to completely workshop the offense, and the deep. They didn't need to completely workshop the team, but clearly, as it's shown, nothing's changed. If anything, it's just gotten worse. I think they're in complete rebuild mode, and I definitely think they start working for some picks. Judy's going to be the first to go. I think Cortland Sutton's probably next. I don't think Russell Wilson's going anywhere. It's too much of a loss to try and get rid of him. But I think we definitely should take Judy because one, it's another option, which we don't have much of right now. And, maybe Max sparks a fucking great friendship with this guy when he gets to the team. They're at practice late together. They're going out to eat. They get a good compatibility going on, and then they start making money on the field. And I think Judy would actually work really well in our system as well. He's just been used very poorly over at Denver.
All right. Well, I think that was a solid episode. Very passionate episode to say the least.
Passion in the wrong direction.
hopefully the next time we talk Patriots, we're going to be on a more positive note, right?
Yeah, hopefully we'll
Yep.
be 8-7 by the end of the
Hey,
year.
and again, the best part about the Patriots season right now is the Celtics start in 3 days. So,
Let's go.
Yay!
Banner 18
right.
coming soon.
Yeah. All
Get
right.
the boats ready.
All right, sweet. All right, we will see you next time, guys, on Offbeat Sports. Be sure to check us out and get on our socials at Offbeat_sports on Instagram and at Offbeat Sports on TikTok. We will see you next time.
Call them all texts.